Hello, welcome to the Royal Jam Custom Shop. I'm Mike Stanley, and today we're going to talk about guitar pickups. Ta-da! Guitar pickups are where 90% of the sound of your solid body electric guitar comes from. People can talk about the wood, and in an acoustic guitar that matters, but in an electric guitar, not so much. Wood is pretty. I like, pretty wood, but it has nothing to do with your tone, really. In an electric guitar, it's all about the pickups. And what type of pickup is right for you depends on what you play and what you want to sound like. There's no such thing as the perfect pickup, except there might be a perfect pickup for you. Do you remember in middle school when you wrapped a wire around a nail, hooked it up to a battery, and picked up a bunch of paper clips with that? Basically what you were doing was creating an electromagnet. Now, when you have a magnet, it's creating a field. You'll notice that this thing will move that magnet before I ever get near it. I can push it along here without getting near it. That's because the fields are interacting, and that field, notice, between these two magnets is about 1.5 inches apart. So above the magnet, about that far, is the field. Now, when a wire, here's a wire, when a wire moves through that field, what's happening is it creates an electric current. The magnetic field creates an electric current in the wire. A weird thing though, if I take a wire and I wrap it around a magnet, like so, with a wire wrapped around a magnet, any conductor that moves through that magnetic field is going to create an electric current in the wire wrapped around a magnet too. That wire is connected to your amplifier, and that's what you hear. Where's the wood come in? Well, it doesn't. It doesn't matter. You can basically take a pickup and hook it up to a piece of glass or a piece of aluminum or bury it in the ground and string a wire over it. It'll work. It'll sound pretty much the same. So the wood on your guitar is for pretty, and maybe for sustain, might have something to do with the sustain, but that has nothing to do with the tone of the pickup. Pickup is where your tone comes from. They take a magnet, actually what they do is they take a little metal slug and they charge it up in a magnetron. Whoop, it gives it a magnetic current, or a magnetic field. So now you have this artificial magnet. A2, 3, 4, 5, A5 magnets are really popular right now. It has a little bit to do with what the magnet material itself is made of, but the magnet is then wrapped with a insulated wire between two pieces of plastic or wood or whatever. Those are called the bobbins. The bobbins hold the magnets, and then the winding goes around that. And nowadays that's all done by machine. But back in the day they used to do it with sewing machines, and little ladies sitting there and counting 100, 200, 300, 600 windings, 700 windings. That's pretty close, whatever. And so hand-wound magnets, hand-wound pickups were always a little bit different. And one guy's Strat from 1955 doesn't sound like another guy's Strat from 1955, even though those pickups might have been made on the same machine on the same day by the same person. It doesn't matter, because they were done by hand. This winding is a little bit heavier this way, a little bit whatever, crisscross, wherever. It changes the sound a little bit. So getting 57 vintage pickups doesn't mean you're going to sound exactly like that 57 vintage guitar you played at the guitar show that they were selling for $100,000. You're not going to sound like that because those were hand-wound pickups. Another thing, when you wind a pickup, how many times and what kind of wire matters. How big the wire is matters. And if you don't seal that pickup, those windings aren't going to stay where you put them. They don't wrap them super tight because you don't want, it's a really thin wire and they don't want it to break. So they wrap them several hundred times, and then they'll either dip them in wax, hot wax, boop, bubbles come out, full of wax. There you go. Leave that guitar in the sun, windings aren't going to be where you left them. And neither will the wax. So sometimes what they'll do is they'll pot a pickup with epoxy. Anything goes wrong here, throw it away. In fact, if anything goes wrong with your windings in a pickup, generally you don't have the machines to fix it. Throw it away. Get another pickup. Pickups are easy to change. Pickups are relatively inexpensive. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars on pickups. Yes, there are $1,000 pickups, and people who buy them are pompous idiots. I'm sorry, but you don't need a $1,000 pickup. I don't care who you are. Jimmy Page does not need a $1,000 pickup. He made those old Gibson pickups sound pretty damn good. In fact, even the Fender Tele he was playing in the beginning sounded pretty damn good. It's not about how much you spend. In fact, you can get really good pickups at a very affordable price. Big name pickup manufacturers charge for their big name. This is a Seymour Duncan single coil pickup right here. And I noticed that the list price on it is about $70 for one single coil pickup. One. This is a sell price of $52, and I got it on sale $30. You know, it's a good pickup. In fact, it sounds exactly like the pickups in my American Strat. They're noisy. That's a good one. Oh man, noiseless pickups. Yeah, sure they are. Humbuckers were designed to get rid of that noise because one side of the circuit is going left-handed, one side of the circuit is going right-handed, and what happens is they cancel each other out, so you don't get the hum. You also don't get as much highs. You get a lot of bass, and they do sound very thick, so blues, rock guys, metal guys like these pickups. Aside from single coil and the double coil humbuckers, there's a couple others you should know about. Lipstick tube pickups, like what you find in a Danelectro, are basically just single coil pickups in a lipstick tube. And they work, and they sound cool. And, you know, there you go. There's also active pickups. Active pickups are have a preamp required, a 9-volt battery in the guitar. Some of you metal guys really like those because I don't think you guys care about tone. Well, you know, I'm just saying, active pickups don't have a lot of dynamic response. They're a lot of output, way too much output. And they're a pain in the neck to wire along with passive pickups like the single coils and humbuckers. So I'm not a fan of active pickups in a guitar, although they sound great in a bass. They have a lot of compression, but you do lose dynamics. And we'll talk more about that somewhere else. Aside from that, there's also condenser pickups. Condenser pickups are like what you find in an acoustic guitar. And in an acoustic guitar, the wood and tone does matter. So they work on a little bit different principle. Piezo condenser pickups are the undersaddle ribbon pickups that they put underneath the bridge. And then the string vibration is carried directly to the ribbon. And that ribbon is kind of like a crystal. Some of you might know that when you take a crystal and squeeze it real hard, it screams with a real high frequency electricity. That's piezo electricity, and that piezo electricity is what goes down the wire to your amplifier. And typically those need a preamp to sound half decent too, but they're used almost exclusively for an acoustic sound. And condenser pickups in an electric guitar, it's a nice little feature. It adds a little color, but it doesn't sound like an acoustic guitar. Okay, if you want to sound like an acoustic guitar, get an acoustic guitar. I'm Mike Stanley. This is the Royal Jam Custom Shop. More videos later. Check out our website at royaljam.com. Don't forget to listen to the radio station Royal Jam Radio, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for your support of real human music.